Welcome to Sacred Rebels podcast, where we discuss life after trauma as we question societal norms and shatter stigmas. Are you a woman who longs for a sense of community and understanding? Well, stick around. There is a seat for you here. This is your host, Tay.
And co-host Amy.
And we're just two best friend millennial moms and entrepreneurs navigating life and motherhood while on a spiritual healing journey.
We don't do surface level, and we're definitely not your typical moms, so let's dig deep. We plan to cover it all and take you behind the scenes as we share our personal experiences, learn more about the holistic side of healing, and introduce all the incredible humans we've met along the way.
Join us as we share the good, the bad, and the ugly side of healing. We hope to help you step into your power. Thanks so much for listening. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Rebels. Tonight it's just me and Aim, and we figured it's time to unpack a lot of things, share a lot of things.
All the things.
Yeah, we've been through some things.
Well, there's just some people that have requested also that listen that they kind of want to hear like more about us and our stories. So
Yeah.
we will start with a big deep breath, just like we always do. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, in through the nose, fill up, lift up, rise up. And then slowly exhale, just let it go.
All right, and I pulled our card tonight, and it's very fitting. I mean, it's always fitting, but tonight it's very fitting. And we pulled Inner Trust, and I've never pulled this card out of this deck before, but I was just like, you've got to be shitting me. And so, I mean, you guys could probably guess what it's about, but I'll read a little blurb from here. So it says, though it may be cloaked and hidden, within you lies natural magnificence, vibrancy, and true uniqueness. The harder this is for you to believe, the more growth this oracle is offering you now. Your opportunity for growth lies in letting go of the need to hide yourself from the world and to let go of any doubt about the wonder of what lies within you. This oracle brings you the message that it is time for you to trust yourself and let the real inner you out from behind the wall. Sometimes what you sense will be more challenging than what it actually is, and will ask something different of you. It might be that you sense fear and sabotage lurking within someone's intentions or in the situations around you. This oracle asks you to trust yourself, to find the most authentic and self-loving way to deal with that. Perhaps you have drawn this card because you are unnecessarily holding yourself back out of fear or lack of belief in your ability to support and care for yourself and the importance of your need for self-expression. The oracle of inner trust comes to you with this guidance that you know what you are doing.
I cannot.
You know what you are doing. If you've been thinking or taking a leap of faith of doing things differently, whether in your personal life or creative work, this oracle brings a particular message to trust your instincts and go for it. The oracle comes at a time when the patterns of your life are shifting. You can take advantage of the shift and leap into an entirely new level of consciousness and experience. This is not the time for self-doubt or playing small. It is time to get in touch with the courage, boldness, and daredevil within, and to take that step, big or small, into the future that is beckoning you forward. You have the wings to fly, baby girl. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we take the leap over the edge anyways.
Fucking jump over the edge.
Like, what? I cannot.
The cards never lie, honestly.
They literally never lie.
And like that, in my last ceremony, that was it. Like, you can like send like an intention, and you bring something and whatever. And I was just like, I'm not bringing anything, because the thing that I'm working on the most right now is trust. And it's not just trusting other people, because that's been the hardest thing. It's about trusting yourself, because if you trust yourself, you don't have to trust other people, because you just know what people's intentions are.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. And this is like what we're talking about today in our podcast together is, a lot of, leaving AA, and I say it like I have to deprogram myself from the program.
I know.
Because we were taught for so long that we can't trust ourselves, that you have to run everything by somebody, that you're this mental defect, that you have this thing, that you're always going to be sick, and that you can't. That's it. That's like the general census of that is that you literally can't trust yourself, and you need to run
and that you'll never heal.
Yeah, and that like God, you were supposed to have a connection with God, But really, like, that connection with God, if you have an actual connection with God, then you should have an actual connection with yourself.
Yep.
To eventually, right? Like,
Yep.
in that time, yes, when I was like shooting heroin and doing all of those things, right? Like, totally probably couldn't trust my decisions, right?
No.
And like, I was really grateful to.
Yes. Always grateful for the experience. I'll never take away from that, right? Like, I met my husband in AA. I had children through AA. Like, I created this beautiful life through AA. So I'll never take away from that, but
the system is broken. Well, the system is
Yes.
broken. That's really
Yes.
it. The system's broken. I mean, it was created in 1936. It's fear-based. It's church-based. It's it's just outdated, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
very outdated.
Like, it's outdated.
Yeah.
Like, we know new things now. We know new things about
New science.
yes,
New
science.
technology.
We
new
know
medicines, like
about-
plant medicines.
rewiring. Well, even certain behavioral therapies like EMDR didn't exist in
Yeah.
1936. Like, you don't have to do plant medicines. You don't have to do those things. They're amazing, and some people they're not meant for, but there's other ways. Breath work rewires the neural pathways in your brain to create a new response. Like, we didn't know so much. We thought that everything lied in our mind, that every decision that we made and that every trauma and, even talk therapy, like everything, we thought it was all mind based. But the truth is that it's in our bodies. These traumas, our bodies have a response to them. And if we don't get out of our mind and get into our body, because that's what breath work does, it shuts the mind off.
I know.
And the body takes control.
Yeah.
Because the body is actually what's having these stored trauma reactions to our past traumas, and not just our past traumas, our 14 ancestors, years, all the things that we don't even know.
Coded in our DNA, literally.
Literally.
Coded in our DNA. Yeah.
And it's in our bodies. It's not in our minds.
No.
So it's both.
Which is the biggest realization that I've had recently. Is that, like, no, like, I could have all this, like, knowledge, all the things, but, like, truly understanding, especially after our experience in the ceremony, it's like, I saw, like, no, it's my being. It has nothing to do, like, I could wish away the things or change my mental outlook or have the most positive perspective, but, like, what is in my body is in my body, in my being, in my soul.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that until I, like, felt that.
Yeah. And our soul is our breath. Like, once you realize that end all be all, the first thing you do when you come into this world is breathe, and the last thing you do in this world is take a breath. Like, our breath is our life. And we say it, if you control your breath, you control your life. Like, your breath controls your mind. It does. If you taking that one deep breath in the beginning, you can feel the mental effect that it has on you, that you're able to take that pause and say, wait a second, that thought doesn't feel right. Like, that thought doesn't feel like my reality right now. And I can actually start to understand why my mind, because it's our blessing, right? Our mind, the fact that we can logic and have emotions and all of these things is what separates us from, an animal, a mammal, those kinds of things. Like, that's our gift as human beings, is our mind and being able to, like, logically process things. But it's not our truth.
Yeah.
It's not our truth.
Yeah.
Our mind's job is to keep us safe, so it's going to do anything that it can to
protect us.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's programming. This is like programming, deprogramming, right? Like, from a broken fucking system. Like, the system is so broken. Our parents didn't know what they were doing, and their parents didn't know what they were doing, and nobody knew all of these things because all of these ancient teachings have been shunned and talked about as weird things.
I feel like there's such, like, a negative connotation, though, around the word programming. Like, what could we use for, like a different word? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
But it's
people are like, oh, you're talking about, like, deprogramming, like, weird. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? There's, like, a taboo thing around the word programming. They're
everything's fucking taboo.
Yeah,
Fuck
I know.
it.
I know.
It is programming, because that's what
It
the
is.
TV
I
does
know,
to
but
us.
it's like,
but there's good programming and there's bad programming, because now we're reprogramming ourselves.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Now now once you know better, you have to do better, right? Like, once you finally figure out that, like,
yeah. So just like the teachings and unlearnings
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Like, we're unlearning all of these things. Like,
And remembering.
and remember, yes.
Because it's already
I
in
know.
us.
I know.
It's like we've been programmed to believe that we're small. We've been programmed to believe that our bodies can't heal us. We've been programmed to believe that we need to go outside for medical doctors and
Just
that's
fear.
fear. And not only fear, it's that you just don't know yourself, that you have to go to a doctor and be told what to do. And then when you figure out that a doctor is just making educated guesses and giving you pills because their reps are coming in and paying them more money, and then you're prescribed 7 pills by the time you know it. And it's awful because I work in these treatment centers and these people are just coming in and all these fucking
heavily dosed.
Heavily.
I know.
And I have
That's
friends.
why my mom quit treatment. She couldn't do it.
Literally.
She was like, I literally couldn't stomach giving the amount of meds I was giving to some of the people. And she's like a holistic healer. So it like wasn't aligning. She's like, I cannot do this. Like,
well, it was when I went to treatment, that's what it is. They were like, yeah, we're going to put you on Visceral and Lexapro and you're going to be on Suboxone. You're going to be on, I was prescribed, I walked into detox. They had me prescription for 4 medications and I'm like, no.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't want any of that. I'm a drug addict. Like, I just got off the streets taking all these pills. Like, what, now you're going to give me them in the legal form? And like, that didn't make sense to me. So I didn't do that, right? Like, there was like one time when I was 18, which is like when Suboxone was like first coming out. And I remember my dad took me and I was meeting a Suboxone doctor in a Panera Bread. Like, he was writing me prescription. My dad was just handing him cash. Like,
yeah, I would literally just buy my friend scripts of subs because it's ridiculous. But I will say that I think that sometimes, there's a necessary time to take a med sometimes, 100%. Like, I believe that for myself. I know that other people, like, for sure need to be on meds sometimes to get them through a period of their life that's going to help them do the inner work. Not work, inner care, soul care, to get them to a point where they no longer need to kind of rely on those meds.
You want to hear the kicker to that, though?
What?
If a doctor, this is what I get so mad about, because my doctor, she's like not in shape, like, and I'm trying to like find, like, how many people have doctors that are like
naturopaths,
in shape?
yeah.
You know, or just generally, like
in
a
shape,
doctor,
I know.
like PhD, like that go to the gym, that eat healthy,
take care of
do the
themselves.
things. If you go to a doctor, your doctor should ask you, what's your physical activity look like? What does your diet look like? How often are you getting outside? Like, what are you doing to take care of yourself in this system, broken system that is not set up for us to have success? Why the fuck isn't our gym membership covered with our health insurance?
I know. Yeah.
Like, why is that separate?
I know.
That's health. Like, our health is our wealth, and we have been taught and programmed to believe that pills and outside things can fix us.
Yeah.
When the reality is,
We fix
our
us.
muscles, when you go to the gym, your muscles secrete your own antidepressant that's made for your fucking body. You go outside and put your feet in the ground gives you energy. It's
Life.
like, this is science.
I know.
Like, this is, and a lot
know.
of people don't even fucking know that.
I know.
It's like mind blowing to me, and everyone's just suffering, and everyone just like, goes around and they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm doing this, like, every
Because
once in a
all
while.
these people are so stuck and being like, they're stuck being comfortable. Like, I truly feel that, like, if you're not willing to accept that everything that you've thought or believed up until this point is a lie, that's kind of terrifying. And so people are choosing not to accept that and just go about living the way that they are comfortable living.
And it's also, our society's not set up for it, right? Like, you go to work from 9 to 5, like, you got to get your kids from daycare, like, how, you know what I mean? You got to cook dinner. You're stuck in this, like,
rat race.
You're stuck in the Free Guy movie, you know what I mean? Just being
legit,
an NPC,
on the hamster wheel.
like, you're on the hamster wheel. You've been stuck in this routine. You've watched your parents be in this same exact routine. And this is what you believe life is supposed to fucking be like, because it's all you've watched all throughout life, watching movies, that's what the movies are. Like, it's all programming. It's all and this is what they wanted. this is the program that they wanted us to be in, because the more we pull away from all of that, and if we become more in communities and more outside, the billion-dollar medical industry, if everybody was actually healthy, actually going to the gym, actually
Yep.
growing their own food, actually doing these things, you don't need to go to, why would you need to go to a doctor?
It's happening. We're having a huge conscious shift. I know it.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I
absolutely
mean,
happening.
it's in the literal Earth's human resonance. Like, you can't make that shit up. Like, it's happening on a fucking Earth frequency level. Like the Earth's heartbeat is changing.
Yeah, well, it's also, I really like remove myself from politics. I really tried not to, but then I had this experience where I had Marianne here last Monday.
Yep.
And she's in here talking about collective consciousness, and she's talking like a
Yeah,
politician.
she's always been into that stuff, even before politics. That's how I know
Yeah.
she's like legit.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't go into politics,
Yeah,
like what I view
but-
and all the things, but
Yeah, well, she talked about it. She was like, we got to stop being too far left and too far right. Like, there
Yes.
is somewhere in the middle.
Middle
There is
ground.
somewhere in the middle, and the middle ground is that we need to start bringing morals and collective consciousness. And she talked about the Constitution and how, the first Constitution, that every man is created equal. Like, right now, that is not how the United States are run.
We are so far away from the Constitution, it's not even funny.
Right. And in that,
It's
it
not
says
even
that
funny.
we have the power as the citizens to
Yeah,
take
we
it
the people.
back. We the people.
Literally says it.
And we the people don't understand that because we've been programmed to believe that we're small
Yep.
and we're not capable of
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
We're not capable of taking our power back. But we are fucking capable of taking our power back, and you are capable of taking your power back. You just have to trust yourself, because if you really sit down and think about it, and you sit down and think about your life, it actually doesn't make sense the way everybody's living. Everybody's living in these rat races and just stuck in traffic and, working a 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck, and watching people struggle.
Living
and
in fear and anxiety and stress and all, like, just
of sickness, fear of sickness.
constant worry.
Fear of sickness, but then not actually realizing that what they're feeding us is what's creating our sickness.
I know. I mean, we could go on a whole rant with this, but I feel like, people know this.
But do they?
Our people know this. I think the more that it's being talked about, definitely, the more people are waking up to it. But yeah, I mean, this all goes back to this sense of like inner trust and inner knowing. Like, we have the inner trust, we have the inner knowing to know all these things and to do all these things, but we need to unlearn. We literally need to unlearn what they've taught us in school systems and all of the things. That's why, like, I'm so passionate. I literally came home and told Dill, like, I was like, this is it. Like, I am homeschooling the kids. Kanan's going to continue to go to kindergarten next year. Hayes will go to the same preschool and kindergarten that he went to, because I love this place. And it's run by a bunch of, like, homeschool moms. It's a co-op. And then from the first to, like, probably 5th grade till they're, like, 7 or so, 8, until they can decide that they want to go to a public school or not, I'm literally homeschooling them under a conscious parenting plan. And, like, it's going to be mostly literally outside based. Yeah. Like, I am taking that responsibility, because now I'm starting to realize, especially after the Bufo ceremony, I am like, I will not allow other people to raise and teach my children things that I don't even believe in.
Right.
Like, how am I gonna preach all these things and show up in a way that I want to make all these positive impacts on my kids and my children and the future children, but yet be selfish in the sense of, like, for me personally speaking, nope, they're going to school because I don't want to deal with it. Like, I'm sending them off to school because I don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. When, like, reality is like, I've looked at all these fucking conscious parenting plans and all these fucking homeschool plans, and it's like 4 hours of schooling a day. We pick the time. It's outside based. 80% of the curriculum is outside, like, teaching them how to farm and plant their own fucking food and, like, do all the things. Like, me and Dill are literally building a greenhouse next year. Like, it's happening. Like, I am not.
And there's a lot of little, like, Kaylin was really good. She knows a lot about this too. There's, like, a lot of grants and programming where, like, it gives opportunities of moms if they want to, like, all come together. If, like,
Pods.
not everybody.
That is my dream.
Yeah, and, like, have, like, homeschool
I want
pods.
a pod I want to build that's literally my dream.
And you have other kids teach other kids. You have older kids teach younger kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's empowering for the other kids and all those things. There's so many beautiful ways, and there is transitioning happening. But we do have to be loud about it because we are doing the work, and we are talking about it. And these things a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people aren't empowered to trust themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just, being a non-player character.
Yeah.
They're just, and it's not their fault. Nobody's at fault for any of this. And I was that for a long time too. Like,
yeah, same.
So stuck in so many things that didn't actually matter. And, coming from a background of, being able to deeply understand my parents' pain and how they grew up and all of those things. And then, having the lifestyles that we had where, like, they just weren't aware of things that were happening, and no kids were taught about body boundaries. Like, there isn't a woman that I've, like, run into in this path that hasn't had some kind of sexual trauma from, like, a father, a brother, a cousin, literally, like, that generation. And I sat here with Amna on the couch yesterday, and we talked about it, and about how our parents' generation, and this is so sad to me, that in not just our parents' generation, our generation, there's so many people that are just walking around acting like these things never happened, just holding these secrets so deep inside of them, feeling so much shame and guilt. And I know this because I did it until I was 21 years old. I wrote a suicide note to kill myself, and that's how, like, I came out with, what was happening to me for so long. And people are just walking around with this inner pain and guilt and shame and all these things, and all they're doing is, instead of healing, they're just spewing their pain on everyone else.
That's exactly what it is. That's what I was just gonna say.
And I did it. I did it too.
Hurt people. We say it all the time.
Yeah, and they're not even aware.
I know
that that's why they're doing it.
I know, it's a never-ending cycle that we, like, this generation specifically is breaking.
Yeah.
It's like millennials are literally breaking generational trauma.
Yeah, because we're all like, what the fuck? I am not sitting with this shit anymore.
I'm not doing this.
I'm not just drinking every day.
I am not living like this. Like, I am not. Like, it comes to a point where you're like, do I continue living this way? Of, like, I just know, like, even growing up, I had so many questions. And then it was like, don't ask too many questions because, like, it was always fucking... My uncle used to say, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. And I'd be like, but I want the fucking answers. Like, I want to know these things. Like, I need to, like, I always had this need to know things. And everyone was just, like, not talking about things that needed to be talked about. And I think that's why I have been able to be so open in this healing journey and talking about my sexual trauma and all the things, because I get that a lot too. It's like, how are you so brave? How are you able to talk about it? It's like, if I'm not, who the fuck's going to talk about it?
And then we're going to have another generation of fucking people just full of pain.
And, like, I'm not up here being like, oh, it's so easy to just, like, lay it out there. But when you start to realize that you are not your trauma, it gets a lot easier to talk about it. Like, no, it doesn't define me. I am not my trauma. I literally came back saying that, like, I am not my trauma. I am not my trauma. I am not my trauma. Like, it was, like, almost like fucking instilled them at, like, a skipping CD. Like, I am not my fucking trauma.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, we're not responsible for anything that anyone's done to us.
I know. But, like, we take it on like it's our own.
Like it's our own. And we are, I will say that again and again and again, we are not responsible for the way people have treated us. That is not a reflection of us. That is a reflection of their pain.
I know.
The way that people treat you is a reflection of them. It has nothing to do with you. And everybody takes ownership of that. I must have done something wrong. I could have done this better. I could have showed up better. Fuck no.
I know.
But then again, we're also responsible for the hurt that we cause because of our own pain. Like, we do it. It's like this.
Yeah, never-ending cycle.
Never-ending cycle. Yeah. And then it's like, when you go out to the bars and you see the same people that are doing the same thing, and people just come home and they have a few drinks every day because they're just trying to run from that pain because they're unwilling to talk about what's hurting them. Or they're like, oh, well, it happened when I was a kid, so it wasn't that bad. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if you're not talking about it, it's not healing. If you're not feeling refeeling it. You have to refill it. You have to remove it from the body. You have to do these things to get it the fuck out, because it's never gonna just go away on its own.
Yeah, ignoring it is like the worst thing you could possibly do.
And that's what our parents' generation did. Everything looks good on the outside. Everything looks good on the outside. Let's just like make sure, like, you know, and then that's also, we're perpetuating that, because it's the same thing with fucking social media. Everyone's posting and I'm so guilty of this, right? Just posting all these happy pictures.
Dude, I'm
all
so
the good
disconnected
things.
from social media lately. I can't even explain it. Like, I've felt the need to be like, step back.
Yeah, I mean, we have a platform though.
I know.
Like, and everyone's just
And
like,
that's
this
where
is the podium.
that's where I struggle, because I'm like, I know what we're doing is important, and I know I want to get this message out, but it's also like I'm in this place where I'm just like, I just want to retreat and like protect my energy from all this fucking bullshit that I see on a daily basis, because like I literally scroll and I'm like,
well, then
I don't
just
want to
share,
get
just
wrapped
don't
up.
Scroll.
Exactly. That's where I struggle. Like creating healthy boundaries with social media, because that's what I'm gonna have to do, and that's what I'm gonna do. But
I only follow, like, if there's anything on social media that I'm ever like, ew, I just delete it.
yeah,
I only follow like positive quote things, like people like sharing positivity, like anything that I can grow from and learn from, and that's the only thing I have on my social media. I don't have any like anything that I would make
but
me
I
feel
also
icky.
need the real life shit where I got like moms in there like in the trenches that are like, today was a fucking day. Today was a terrible day.
Yeah, well, that's not icky things. Right?
Yeah, true.
You know, what would that? You know.
But I just mean like in general, like my fucking For You page lately is just like crises all over the fucking world, and I'm like, I don't want to see it. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
want to
do
fucking
TikTok.
see it. Oh yeah, see, I go down the TikTok rabbit hole.
I don't do TikTok. I only have Instagram, Facebook, and
I
I don't even
fucking-
scroll on Facebook. It's just
Oh
Instagram.
my god, the rabbit holes that you can end up in. But I will
But
say,
it's
just so
awareness.
many things are different. Yeah, like just so many things are different in the ceremony. I can't even like.
So we'll get back to talking a little bit, right? So Taylor and I both have sexual trauma from somebody that we were supposed to trust, right? So going back to inner trust, we have all these people in our lives as we were growing up that we couldn't trust, like in our own homes.
Yep.
So if you can't trust the people that are supposed to love you the most, then how are you supposed to ever build inner trust?
Yeah, trust your
Because-
judgment, trust all the things that you. Again, my biggest self-limiting belief is I can't trust my judgment.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel that way anymore, but that was like my biggest. Me and Brecken would work on every single week, because I could not desensitize myself to it and felt the need to seek outside counsel from every single fucking person in my life. And then I'm clouded with all these different opinions. And then I'm so far from my own instincts and my own intuition that I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Mm-hmm. So it's like, biggest thing is like, you can't trust your judgment, or I can't trust my instincts, because how could I allow this? Right? Air quotes for those who aren't watching YouTube, but like, how could I allow this person to do this or this thing to happen to me
Yeah.
in that way? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then carry that weight your whole entire life.
Yep.
And then pick up substances.
Yep.
Right. And then there's that feeling. Like, one of the biggest things that I've realized is that I've felt so alone. Like, I've always had this attachment to being alone, and then seeking outside relationships to make me not feel alone.
Yeah.
But if I feel alone in my own body, I'm always going to feel alone, no matter who's the
Who's with
fuck
you.
next to me.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. I could have the best person in the world giving me the most love they ever could express, love me, obsessed
Agreed.
with me.
Agreed.
But none of that matters if I can't feel that within myself and create that within myself. So then, it leads to drugs, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's what.
The aloneness. We all need connection.
Yeah.
That's literally what it comes down to. Human love and connection.
But with ourselves,
Yes.
most importantly. Because if you cannot fully love and connect with yourself, and I'm still not there yet. I'm still like, I'm single now, and I'm like home alone when I don't have the kids, and I'm like, reaching out to people, like, trying, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, like, I'm human, and like, I do it, and then I still feel fucking alone. And then I'm like, why the fuck did I even do that? But
Yeah. Why'd I do that? What a waste of time.
yeah. So, but it's life, right?
It's
We're
fine.
human beings.
Yeah. On a human experience.
On a human
bitch.
experience, we have to still play the game in the 3D level, even though we know like what it actually
Yes.
is, because we're actually in the Matrix. But so you connect in, and then you do all these things with substances, and you for me, it was like homelessness and,
Yeah.
you know, drug dealing, and it was
Yeah.
money, and it was, you know, I had the houses and
Yeah.
the lifestyle and all this shit and traveling. I was
Yep.
from Miami to
chaos.
California, like just like all of it, right?
Yeah.
And every piece of that and every like layer of my story, and, you know, same like your story, is that it just takes you further and further and further away from who you truly are.
Yeah, yourself.
And you're just like chasing and chasing
Yep.
and chasing.
Yep.
And then you get sober, and then you have this like false sense of security through programming,
Yeah.
and it's not the best, right? But I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for AA, and I will always say that, right? But there's such a beautiful piece of being like, okay, like I used that as a stepping stone.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And there's
That's
nothing.
literally what it was. It's okay to say you outgrew something.
Yeah.
Right? We outgrow people. We outgrow fucking clothes. Like, we outgrow things every day. Like, it's okay to say that you outgrew something that used to work for you. And to be shamed for it is fucking insane. It makes me so angry sometimes. I'm like, how you gonna, like, sit on your little soapbox and preach? Like,
Yeah, it's your fault that you put me on some kind of pedestal and like
Yeah.
it had some sort of expectations of me.
it's just
like,
weird.
It's
It's weird. It's weird energy. We don't do fucking weird vibes. It's weird.
But here's the beautiful thing that I've learned now. So, you know, I was drinking and I was prescribed marijuana, and I've 3 years. It's 3 years this month that that I, you know, added alcohol back in my life.
Yep.
And I, you know, recently made the decision on my own, not because anything happened. I literally, like, when I drank, I barely drank. I don't like to get drunk. There has been a couple of times it was like I almost had to, like, rebuild my relationship. Like, I was, like, 21 again, like, learning and figuring it
Yeah.
out, right? Because,
Like,
like,
what do I
always,
even like to drink? That was like me. Like, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I like to drink. I haven't drank in 5 years. Like, like, they didn't even have Trulies or White Claws when I got sober.
Yeah.
So, like, drinking a hard seltzer, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it was just like this weird learning process, and it was so beautiful to like have that experience and like enjoy
Yeah.
wine and like have champagne and like do all these things that I was told that I couldn't do for so long.
Yeah.
And in the past like 6 or 7 months, I would be like, you know, like I go and like I have a beer at dinner, or like I have a beer, you know, with my friends, like, or like add to the experience, because I'm always in this realm, right? I'm always
Yeah.
talking deep. I'm
Yeah.
always in the studio. Like, I'm always in treatment. Like, I'm just constantly like at this like high vibrational, like
Yeah.
deep shit. And it's actually nice because alcohol actually lowers your vibration. It's a depressant. It stays in your system for 24 hours. Like, it's actually just really bad. It's
Yeah,
actually
shuts
poison.
your brain off.
Yeah. And it
And
felt
that's how
good.
Jill explains it. It
It
shuts
felt
his brain off.
good to just like take a second, and not because my life was bad, like I wasn't using it as an escape.
Yeah,
Whenever
no.
I was
as
in
long as you're aware of it, for sure.
but now I made the decision to stop on my own.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, to just, why? Like, I don't need
Yeah.
it. It doesn't make me feel good the day out. Like,
No.
like,
I never even really loved alcohol, even before I got sober. Like, I was never a drinker, really. Like, I would drink it if I had to, like, if I didn't have drugs. But once I found drugs, like, it was a wrap. So then once I
Yeah.
started drinking again, it was like, I loved my champagne, but that was it. And then, like,
Yeah.
everything else made me sick. Like, hard liquor makes me sick. Like, truly, both
Vodka
ends
Red Bulls.
sick. Yeah, vodka Red Bulls, sick. Sick, bitch. Like, in the bed next day,
stomach,
sick.
like gross stomach.
And like, I
but-
just can't operate like that anymore. Like, I got fucking kids to take care of. Like, I cannot operate like that. I can't be in that mental space. We talked about it all the time. Like, next day you're in like the depressy blues, and you're like, oh my God, like, you know, feeling the feelings, and you're like, why do I feel like this? Oh yeah, because I fucking drank last night. Like, you know.
And people don't even realize that like it stays in your system for 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah,
like the after
legit.
effects. Even if you feel fine, like it's still
The anxiety, literally, you get like hangover anxiety.
Scaries. Like, it's just like, so, and that's something that like our society like isn't, you know, and everybody's just, it's so acceptable. Like, it's so acceptable
And
to just, like,
celebrated, which is
yeah.
weird to me.
going to the bar.
Again, we didn't leave AA just to come out and be like, oh, we're drinking, and this is like, we're like promoting drinking. Like, that's never what it was. It was like, no, we're promoting that you have inner trust. You can trust yourself to do these things if you have done the work and you have been removed for a period of time.
Yeah.
Like, practice complete abstinence for a period of time. All we were saying and preaching was like, girl, you could have a glass of champagne and not die, probably. If that's like if that's what your insides, not me, not us telling you, if that's what you feel and that's what you're starting to think and starting to question, then that's probably your truth. Because that's how it was for me. I was so sick of people telling me, you can never do this, you can never do this. But I had this inner knowing of like, no, I know for a fact I'm going to drink again. And I know I can drink again. And I'm not going to go shoot heroin. And I'm not going to do these things. Like, I knew that you couldn't pay me
To drink
to
is
fucking
to
shoot
die.
drugs. Yeah, like, no. You could not pay me to do drugs again. Again, we're preaching inner knowing. If you know something's good for you, you know something's good for you. You don't have to listen to anyone else or what their opinions are or what they're fucking doing. Like, you do what's good for you, period.
And alcohol's not really good for you.
No, it's
like,
not.
But that was my thing, right? Like, I did so much spiritual work, like working on myself, so many different therapies, so many different things to heal the trauma that I knew. Like, so I was stopping spewing my pain on everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was just so sick of that. So I did so much inner work. And then once you start doing the inner work and you hear this thing of that you're powerless over something and that you know, you're going to have this thing forever that's going to create this sickness in you, and that if you did make this mistake or had a beverage or did whatever, that you would literally go back to shooting heroin. Like, I would literally try to like wrap my head around that concept, and I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. It really just doesn't make sense.
Just that in itself, right? Literally, that we have to admit that we're powerless. Like, bro, no.
Nope.
Like, no.
I'm not powerless.
Like, I might be powerless in the moment over drugs, sure, like coming off a fucking heroin run because I'm physically dependent or like I'm not mentally sane. But to continue to say it throughout the entire experience in the 5 years that I stayed sober, like, I am not powerless. Like, I got so sick of saying it. Like, because again, what we say and what we think is what our reality is. So, of course, you're probably sitting and thinking, holy fuck, I'm fucking powerless.
Yeah.
Like, no.
You want to hear something crazy about how the mind is? So I've been saying that I really want to get back into jiu-jitsu. Like, I've been saying it for a long time. And I literally just ordered a gi on Amazon, and I'm like, I'm just going to do jiu-jitsu. I'm going to like figure it out. I'm going to order a gi. And literally, like, 2 weeks later, somebody, like, messaged me on Instagram, and he's a purple belt, and he wants to do yoga, and we're going to, like, trade private sessions. When you put
the tunnel
shit out there, like, that's what your reality is. People just don't even, like, we are energetic.
But this is, like, again, you guys, this is science. It's quantum physics. Like, this is, like, an actual fucking thing. This is not me and Amy being like, woo-woo, oh, my God, what you say to the universe, you get back. It's like, no, this is, like, quantum physics. And then, like, when you experience it, like, we really experienced it, it's like, holy fuck. Like, when you start operating at a higher vibration and open yourself up to receiving things, because that's another thing. Self-doubt and, like, self-criticism will stop you from receiving the things that you deserve or that you want because you don't truly believe that you deserve them. So, like, you have to start with the belief system of like, no, if this is a thing that I want, then I'm gonna fucking get it. Like, I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking, like, with thinking this, but like, I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna happen. And then boom, shit just starts coming because you're so open to receiving. So many people aren't open to receiving. That's the problem.
Because they don't trust themselves and they don't think they deserve it.
Again, back to inner trust. Yes.
Back to inner trust. And then my scratch ticket. I've really I've
insane.
been trying to budget, like, you know, money and like everything, just figuring things out. And I was like, oh, I'm not really going to be able to afford my personal trainer this month, so I'm just going to, like, go to the gym, whatever. I fucking won $500 on a scratch ticket that a friend bought for me.
Legit.
Like, $500 on a scratch ticket
you
is
just can't
exactly,
make this shit up.
like, literally.
You just can't make it up. I know.
It's wild.
Like people, and that's another thing, right? Like this is something I got all the time too. Like, girl, how do you do it? You're so blessed. You have a beautiful family. You just seem like you're like living in abundance. It's like, yeah, because I fucking worked my ass off to tell myself and make myself believe that this is what I fucking deserve. I deserve this life. I deserve my husband. I deserve my kids. We deserve a healthy, happy home. Like, period.
Yeah.
And the shit just keeps coming. Like, Dill's business is like blowing the fuck up, and everyone told us that we were going to struggle first year of business. He literally sat me down like the month he was like quitting his job with Mike and was like, babe, like we're going to have to budget, like, you know, we're going to struggle for a year. Like that's how it happens when you go into business. Like people struggle, like, you know, we're going to have to do some things. And I literally looked him dead in the face and was like, I'm not willing to believe that. Like, I don't believe that. I know we'll be good, but like, cool. Like, noted. I'll budget and I'll stop fucking buying shit off Amazon that we don't need. And then, like, this shit just keeps coming. Like, the contracts that and the relationships. And I think it's so beautiful witnessing because then it allows me to start thinking that I can do bigger things with you. Like, obviously, this and the women's circle and then the breast certificate. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe I can do some things too. Like, and then I start to believe it. And then I'm like, holy fuck, it's happening. Like, and now I just don't even question it.
Well, yeah, when you are like programmed to believe in, and not even in AA, right? Like like thinking that you're powerless, or if you have this inner feeling that you're not deserving and not worthy because you're carrying around this pain, this shame, this underlying thing, this secret, this trauma. And that's the other thing too, is like there is no levels to trauma. Like, yeah, I was, you know, sexually molested and, you know, all these things that we have. There is our bodies, like I said, like we have an intellectual mind of like the neural pathways and like all these things. But what we really need to understand is that it is not in the mind, it is in the body. And until you heal it in the body, the mind will not respond correctly. And that's why you have to have a physical movement practice. Breath work is so amazing for that. You can cure 5 years of talk therapy in just 3 breath work sessions.
Yeah, you can cure asthma. There's like studies, like the Buteyko method. You can literally cure asthma with breath work. Like you can cure many different diseases with breath work. It's fucking incredible.
Breathwork, diet, exercise, and putting your feet in the ground.
Like
literally.
we are our own healers. We
Yeah,
sit
I
up
mean,
here
look
and
at
we
Tony
preach it, but like it's
Robbins.
so
Look at
true.
Tony Robbins.
I
Dude,
know.
like if
I
people,
know.
like everybody should know about Tony Robbins. Like he literally sat there
Seriously.
and meditated and changed his diet like he was gonna die, and like look at him, like he's thriving and amazing. Like we as human beings, our bodies are so capable of healing us from the inside out. I know I sound like a broken record because I feel like I say it all the time, but we are so capable.
We gotta drive it home.
We are not powerless. We have so much power in us. And then when we start to build that power inside of us, it starts to attract our community. And then you start to have things and you're just not alone anymore, and you're in your own power. And then you're surrounded by beautiful people who aren't spewing more toxicity and negativity at you. And then you're just in this constant
or
ebb and
questioning
flow.
you or
questioning
doubting you.
Yeah.
Like that's all ego too. It's like these people that are out here questioning or, you know, whatever. It's like again, it's like that old saying of like whatever someone says to you, it's a reflection on them, not you. Like that's on you, sis. Like you got the problem. I'm over here like fucking living life.
Right.
Like truly. And I just want the best for everyone. So it's like crazy to me when someone's like so wrapped up in ego that they're not willing to think outside the box or think that what worked for me might work for them too. Like that's what's crazy. It's like, no, we're not lucky. Like we've just like done the fucking work and like we're willing to believe that we're meant for more and are capable for more, which is like what is happening.
A lot of fucking work.
Yes.
It's
like,
not just like we didn't just like wake up
and
one
it
day
never
and
stops.
we're like,
it never stops. Like it continues. Like I still have so much I need to learn. I want to learn. Like it never stops.
Yeah, and the thing is that anything that you judge in somebody is you.
Yeah.
That's you.
It's literally a reflection of you.
And anything that you see in us is already in you.
Yeah.
Because you can't see it. You can't see it. And we talked about this with Jessica. Like, you can't see it in somebody unless it's in you, good or bad.
Yep.
And that is you, all your responsibility. That's your programming. That's your shit. That has nothing to do with me, because when I'm out here doing the things that I'm doing, I am not fucking thinking about anybody else, how I could hurt somebody else, any of those things. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm literally living my life how I want to live my life, due to also my own programming and my own unlearning and my own remembering. And it's misunderstood
Yep.
always, right? When you start to just like operate at this like higher level, and you're just like, yeah, none of that actually matters. It could look like ego, right? Where I'm just like, yeah, none of that fucking matters. You can say whatever the fuck you
Or
want to say about
psychosis
me.
or delusional or all these
Right,
other fucking
or
words that are thrown around.
Ideas of grandiose,
Yeah.
whatever, mental, like, yeah, like you can say that, but you're only saying that because that's how you feel about yourself.
Literally.
And it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, we are all mirrors of each
Yeah.
other.
That, and like, you're like, once you figured that out, you're like,
Holy fuck.
you have to swallow deep at yourself too, because when you start judging people, you're like, well,
But that was like a humbling thing too, right? Like coming out of that ceremony and knowing that we are all one. It was like a humbling fact that, like, okay, that means good and evil. That means dark and light. That means this and that. Like, all one. And so that was a humbling fact for me. Like, how could so much darkness and shit be in the fucking world if, like, we just, like, should be all love and one? It's insane.
well, that's everything. Even like child molesters and rapists,
child
and all
trafficking,
that stuff,
all
like
the fucking shit.
all
Like,
of it. You have to see that it's people's pain, and they're spewing their own pain, and
And
hurt people
toxicity,
hurt
yeah.
people, and everybody needs this level of healing, because and the more people just judge them and shun them and stick them in jail cells and do all of these things. Not that I'm saying that that's not where those people belong, but then once they get there, they need the healing. They need these kinds of
Yes.
things, so that way we can change the collective. Like, you have to go. That's why I'm in the jails. That's why I'm in the treatment centers. I'm not afraid to go to the darkest places and look at people that did all of these things. It doesn't matter.
Same.
Because at one point in their life, they were created out of love, out of stardust, out of God, out of creation. Every single one of us was created out of a spark of love.
yeah.
Even babies that were born
It's
out
so
of
funny when we
rape.
talk
like,
about it. I'm like looking at you and I'm like, I know, I get it now. I fucking get it now. And before, when you would say this, I'd be like, okay, I'm like, I believe it on paper. Like, I believe it on paper. But until you fucking sit with this medicine and experience it for yourself, it's like, all right, I get it now.
And I just want to say too, because like, we do talk about the medicine. This stuff is attainable without medicine. This
Yes.
stuff is, and medicine is
With
not
breath work.
for everyone.
It's attainable for breath work.
It's very attainable with breath work and EMDR, and medicine just isn't for everyone. And like,
No,
I've
it's
just
very
say it,
intense.
and like I've been, like, and you just have to know who your practitioner is. You have to know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be something that you're called to, not just because it's like, oh, they did it, so maybe I should do
No.
it. I have full respect. This is medicine. This is not a drug. This is not a substance. This is not anything. This is for deep.
This isn't something light.
No, and
This
it's
is like
for
a big fucking deal.
deep level, like, trauma.
Yeah.
Like, I did 10 years of work, and I was still causing so many people so much pain because of my own pain.
Yeah.
My divorce, all of it, right? Like, there is no
Yeah.
shame. Like, I did
No.
horrible things. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't the best wife. Like, I have no, like, and that is my responsibility. And now it has been my responsibility to heal,
Yeah. Exactly.
And once I made the decision to, leave the marriage because I knew I was causing harm and doing all of these things, like, again, like, energetically, like, things started to happen because I was making the moves, like this space, the apartment, all
exactly.
of the things, like, because I was
Exactly.
actually trying to do better, because I was fucking dying inside.
I know.
And that is probably why I started drinking 3 years ago, because I wasn't happy with myself, and I wasn't happy with my situation. I wasn't happy
You were
about
like
where
a completely different
I was
person
at.
from
Yeah, I was
how I
so
saw you a few years ago. Yeah.
lost and confused, and
Yeah.
I had so caught up in the wrong things, and
I just feel like running. is like the word I would use. Like you were running from yourself, I feel like.
Yeah, because I couldn't look at myself because I was trying to do all these things and trying to figure out where this deep-rooted hurt came from. And I had somebody that loved me so much, but I couldn't accept the love. I couldn't accept any of it. I didn't feel worthy of any of it. I didn't feel worthy of the lifestyle that I was living. I didn't feel worthy of any of it because of my own self-worth, because of something that happened to me as a child. And you know, not having a relationship with my father, you know, my relationship with my father built every relationship, you know, all of the things that had happened, I can see so clearly now.
Yeah, same.
You know,
within
and it's
myself,
so, and it's so hard, and that, you know, the here we are, like the podcasts of half truths, you know, the stories that we hear, the people that just want to like spew toxicity of what we're doing. It's great. There is no half truths. There's your truth, there's his truth, there's her truth, but you know what? It's all fucking truth. And there is no judgment of that.
Yeah.
And the people that want to focus on all of these things that we're doing or not saying, or this is my personal life. Like, this isn't what this podcast is about. This podcast is about holistic healing. People want to know.
Providing alternatives.
People want to know something about my personal life. Fucking ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just such bullshit.
And we've made that so clear. Me and Aim are very open books.
Yeah.
Like, if there's anything anyone ever needs or wants from us, like, just ask. Like, that's like a big thing, I feel like.
This is a holistic healing podcast, and like I will gladly share, you know, the things, and like there's a lot of shit that I just said, like I caused harm, like I did, you know, whatever that is. You want to know, come and ask me. It's not my business to put other people's business out here on a podcast either. Like, that's fucked up.
No way. We would never.
Like, we would never.
But
like,
regardless.
This is my truth.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yes, but everybody has their own truth, their own inner knowing, their own inner truth, and you're the only one that knows that truth. It's nobody else's business. It's nobody else's. And it's your job to like unravel all of that and figure that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, am I sad that I couldn't have figured these things out? But honestly, like, I fully and wholeheartedly believe that every single thing in this world is happening for me and not to me, and these lessons had to be so deep because these lessons are so deeply rooted in my ancestors that we are breaking generational shit, and it had to be this painful for me. I'm not happy about it. I'm not psyched that this has had to be my reality and had to be my truth, and this is now my life. But my life is so fucking beautiful now that I can actually see it. And actually am doing something about it. And with my actions and with my words and how I'm showing up now is really just trying to fix the wreckage of my past and just show up as this whole human being.
Yeah, but again, like, we are not our past. Like, our past does not define us. We say that all the time. Like,
but it is our responsibility to heal it, right? Like, and to make it right.
100%, but we should not be judged off the things that we have done in our past.
No.
Like, we just shouldn't. And I believe that. And I think that, you know, coming back to the topic of the medicine and not doing this, like, just to fucking do it and say you've done it, like, this truly is something that, like, you have to pray about and, like, be called to it, is that realization that, you know, knowing that, right? Like, we are all one and we just need to accept people for and love people, like, truly love people. It was like Amna made that realization to us, and that kind of like light bulb moment of like, oh, fuck. Like, if we just started loving the scum of the earth and teaching the scum of the earth, quote marks, like, just teaching them not only to love themselves, but the people around them, like, this cycle would not happen anymore. No. It's because those bottom fucking feeders at the bottom, the shittiest fucking human beings on the planet, like anyone who does shit to fucking children, all of it, like, they are, again, hurting people, and so fucking sick, and never probably shown love in their entire lives, that they just don't fucking know.
They don't know love.
And that, I think, for me, has been the biggest shift. Like, no longer holding hate for people like that, but almost just like a sense of like sadness, like
compassion.
Yeah.
When you can shift hate
like
to compassion.
Light bulb moment, dude. And that has been truly freeing for me in my journey, and just like my own abuser and my own healing and fucking self-worth, fucking shit, self-love. Like, I've just been like, oh my God, like, it just doesn't even matter. Like, they are just, I don't know.
It's gotta be so sad to live in that existence of
So
like
fucking
knowing.
sad. Like,
Yeah. And when you have that conscious shift, the world changes.
literally changes.
And you can have that conscious shift just by hearing somebody say it too.
Exactly.
And just
like the goosebumps you feel. You read something and all of a sudden, like a light bulb goes off. That's your inner knowing. Those are things that you know that you're being reminded of. Again, breath work. Those are things that you can access through breath work and like all of the things like teachings and, you know, do shit that's out of your norm. Do stuff that's uncomfortable. If you have like a... Lately, I've been like wanting to be creative, so I just like got a bunch of like art stuff. But like, if you have like a sparked interest in something, don't ignore
Curiosity.
it. Yeah,
curiosity.
don't ignore it. Like that is your inner knowing.
Trust
That is
yourself.
like that is you calling to you.
I've never trusted myself so much more. And I still, you know, these things there is never like a moment where like I'm not going to at some point feel alone, right? Like,
Yeah.
but what I'm starting to do is see that in that and in feeling that, this was what happened to me on Sunday in breathwork, is that so this is what happened to me Sunday at breathwork that I was talking about, is that it was like huge solar plexus work. Like I've been so disempowered as a human, like, or as a female. Like I've just been so disempowered because, you know, growing up being sexually abused and then like not having a father that like supported me. I always wanted to be like a cheerleader or like a dancer, and I was never empowered to do any of that. I was just a bad kid because I was doing these things. You know, I started stealing money from my dad when I was like 7 years old because these things were happening behind closed doors that like I couldn't talk about. And then I was just like a bad kid. And so I was just programmed to believe that I was just like bad, innately bad. I was always punished. I was always grounded. I couldn't go to field trips. Like I couldn't, like I was just always.
I was literally the bad child.
Like that, and that.
My fucking Facebook memory statuses are like grounded again. Like literally, I was always grounded.
Always fucking grounded.
Always.
Because I was acting out because of what was happening to me, and I couldn't express what was happening to me because I didn't feel safe. So, you know, I wasn't empowered. So these lessons that I've been learning in this is like, I don't ever give myself credit for anything that I've done. Like I've always give everybody else credit. I don't see my own power. I don't see what I'm creating. And I'm starting to finally, it's like in the woman's circles. Like that was like literally the most powerful breath work that I've ever done.
I know, I sobbed.
And like having these experiencing and actually seeing myself that through fucking everything that I've been through abuse and addiction and homelessness and just all these things that I've been through, no matter what, I just want to help people heal.
I know.
Like that's my heart.
I know.
Like in my deepest
Girl, same.
struggles, like in my deepest struggles, all I think about is the person who was as alone as I was.
I know.
To want them to feel empowered. And I'm finally fucking seeing myself how everybody else sees me. And it's like one of the most beautiful, and it's just happening now. And it's like the imposter syndrome, like all of that. But
Always.
no, like I just want people to like not feel in pain anymore. I don't want people to feel alone anymore. I just want people to feel that there is somebody out there that has gone through the same thing as you, and there is a way out. There is a fucking way out.
Which is what we're providing. Alternative solutions.
Yeah.
Because not everything works for the same person, right? Like, it's like, yeah, that's funny you say solar plexus. That's like the only color I saw. Orange and pink. And Jessica was like, that's solar plexus and inner child healing 100%. Like,
yeah, that's all we need to do. It's like it was so funny. I had the workshop on Saturday night where we did the sound workshop. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
That looked so fun. I'm like kind of upset I missed that. I didn't even know you were doing that.
I'm going to have another, and I'm going to have them every month because it was inner child's play. Like I just sat here with a group of people.
Like, with instruments, like
with my community, like people that come to all my classes, Nick, like one of my teachers, like, you know, people that I've grown to like love because we're all in this together, right? I always say it like in the sound baths. I'm like, I just want everybody to know I'm up here, and like I'm up here just because like I need this too.
Yeah.
Like I created this because like you create the community that you desire, right? That's something that I learned in AA. Like now I don't have AA anymore, but I have a community that like I fucking love every single person that walks through this door. Like Wednesday after the sound bath, there was 5 strangers in here. We sat in a circle right here at the door, and we all had a big group hug, and we all did a collective ohm together. And it was probably I didn't know any of them. I just
I love that.
got in on their group hug.
I love that.
And I'm like, this is it. Like,
Yeah, I
this
love
is
that.
so beautiful. And yeah, we did inner child's play. Like, we were playing with the rain stick. We were all just like playing the music together. Everybody got to hit the gong. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna let me hit the gong?" I'm like, "Hit the fucking gong!" Like, it feels
Yes,
so
hit
good.
the fucking gong.
Inner child's play. Like, that's all it was. Like, we didn't even realize. Like, I jump on the trampoline with the kids. Like, this weekend, I took the kids to the
Yeah.
lake, and I was like playing with Xavier on the mat. And we were like having these mat wars, and it was just like, I went like,
You're literally healing your inner child.
because my childhood was robbed from me.
Yep, same.
I didn't
love
have
being
a
a mom.
childhood.
I love being a mom for that too. Like just that one big piece of like I'm getting to relive my childhood.
And the
through my
majority
babies.
of us in this generation had that same situation where our childhoods, a lot of people had their childhoods robbed. And they don't realize that they're running around acting like toddlers, throwing tantrums because they're not getting their way, because they actually didn't know how to emotionally regulate, because they were never taught. And so now we're like adults, like trying to like figure shit out, and everyone's fucked. Because we weren't able to be kids.
I know.
It's wild.
Again, we're the generational trauma breakers right
Yeah.
here. No more cycles.
No more fucking cycles.
Cycle breakers. Like, just no more. I truly just want everyone to, like,
Get this.
yeah, and live their best fucking lives. Like,
Please.
truly. And I feel like sometimes it might sound preachier, like holier than thou, but, like, no. Like, I just genuinely want everyone to feel this sense of peace and knowing.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And stop spewing
Fucking
your fucking
freedom.
shit. Stop spewing your pain.
Yeah.
It's like pain that wasn't your fault, right? Because like that's the same thing. Like it's not your fault that somebody did these
Yeah,
things to
become
you.
self-aware of the shit that you do and how you act.
Yeah, and that
More
like,
self-awareness.
that what happened to you wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
But now
Exactly.
you know it. So
not
now
your
it's your
fault.
responsibility to heal it.
Yes.
You have to feel it, so you're not creating another generation of people that don't know how to, feel and connect to each other.
Yeah.
And we don't have to carry this shame and this guilt any longer. It's done. That shit's a wrap. It's over. We don't have to live
It's
like that
over.
anymore.
It is over. Done and gone.
Dun, 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 dun. So we should probably be over because this is going to be a long one. People are going to be like, these
rant.
fucking bitches. They just went on an
No.
hour and a half long rant. But no, I know I'll listen to it and I'll be like, wow, I can't even believe I said that, because that's what happens every time in the podcast. I'm pretty sure I just cried. It was just like a whole emotional. Sorry, guys.
No. Why are you saying sorry? Stop. I just feel like lately I've been like, having a guest to interview is 100% the easy way out and the cop out for me. And so like I show up here and I'm like, yes, we have a guest tonight. Like I don't have to do shit. I just have to listen, right? And then like you're like, just me and you tonight, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, fuck. Because I thought for sure that we were gonna have to like get deep into it, which again, like I don't mind these things, right? But I think that this was a message for me too. Like every single card that I've been pulling, everything that I've been seeing, every sign is like, it's now time to speak my truth. And I feel like for a long time I've been trying to be like, I don't want to say dim my light, because I'm very open on my social media and I speak a lot of things and I do a lot of things, but now it's like, no, like I need to start showing up in a more powerful way, and it's been like made very clear to me lately.
That's because and it's so funny because remember when Amna was here when I was texting
Yes.
you, and I was like, no, like people want to hear from us, and you were like, yeah, but like this, you like disempowered yourself. You were just like, yeah, but like it's good in numbers.
I
Like,
know,
yes.
because that's the tricky part where I still have a problem with. I'm like, is it ego or is it
No,
good intention?
the ego is good, and it's always good intentions. We always
it
have
is,
good
but it
intentions.
isn't.
Ego is a part of who we are,
Yes, but
but we're not operating out of ego.
yes, I know. well,
We're
I know
operating
this.
out of love.
Well, I know this, but then in my mind, it's like, I hope people don't think that we're operating out of ego.
If people think that we're operating out of ego, it's because they're operating out
again,
of ego.
it's none of our
'cause they're-
fucking business.
Exactly, and it's because
I
they're
know.
operating
I
out
know.
of ego. It has nothing to do with us.
I
Personal
know.
responsibility.
That's still the shit that I have to work on too, for sure. It's like,
yeah, we're always.
I think every single
Self-care.
thing that I've read lately is like, the world wants to hear you. It's time to speak your truth.
But we have to feel empowered that, and because we've had sexual trauma, because we've had addiction, because we've had all these things, we have been so disempowered, and we've also carry all that generational things of women being disempowered. So we just live small.
Wow.
We play small.
I'm having a light bulb moment right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba.
No, you're right.
There's no more living small. We don't have to.
But that's why I love you. I feel
'Cause-
like you are that friend to pull me out of, like, you make me do some uncomfortable, weird ass shit, but it's always for like the better, and it's always like, you're gonna do this, and like you're gonna level up, and I'm like, all right.
It's so funny. I don't know. It was, I think Sunday I like stood up and I was like, I think I need to have a painting like at the top of the thing, like, let's do weird shit.
Yes.
Like, it's my favorite thing. I need
Let's
a tattoo.
do weird shit and farts are funny. Those are the two signs we need in here.
Let's do weird shit and parts are funny. Yes. Like, so I think that's going to have to happen. Let's do weird shit for sure. Like, let your freak flag fly. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, there's
Yeah.
no more. There's no more fucking shame. There's no more guilt. There's no
Judgment.
more judgment. There's like, there's no place for that. Like, why? Like, just think about
Life's
what
too
are
fucking
those.
short, dude.
What are those emotions serving you? Like, how are those
I know.
emotions serving you? They're not. They're just disconnecting you.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing too is like, this like goes for the people who think, like, right, like we're talking about this self-awareness of like breaking the cycle and like hurt people, and so like you need to be self-aware of like what you're spewing. It's like, before you think or say something, ask yourself, what is your intention in saying that, which is like what I told you to say. In certain situations where someone's actively trying to hurt you or harm you, same thing goes for yourself. If you're about to say something that you think is going to hurt someone, or like you're angry or all of the things, like, ask yourself, what is my intention for even saying this? Like, am I just trying to be a fucking bitch? Or like, am I like trying to give some hard truth and be like, no, like, I'm just trying to help you see, like, you know, just ask, like, what the fuck is your intention?
There's always an intention, right?
Always an intention, and always a motive, I feel like. I mean, not always a motive. I feel like that's the wrong word, because motives can be a little skewed, but there's definitely always an intention.
So the two takeaways today are to really trust yourself and to feel empowered and to stop playing small, because that's...
You are capable, you are worthy,
and just
and you can have anything you want.
Put the energy out there. Like, take a step.
Yeah.
Buy a gi if you want to do jujitsu.
Jump off the ledge, like I told you.
Jump
Just do
off
it.
the ledge.
Just do it.
Buy a scratch ticket. You might win $500.
I know. That's
Well, actually,
fucking wild.
it was bought for me.
I've only
Super
ever
appreciative
won
of that.
$20 scratch ticket before. Like,
Yeah.
$20
Well,
is like
here's
the
the thing.
most.
I was so mad, so I was scratching it, and I was just scratching it, and then I was at the table, and I was like, oh, I don't think I won. And then Dan looked at the ticket, and he was like, you won $500, and I didn't even fucking...
God,
I didn't
you
even...
dummy.
I
You
did-
would be the one to throw a $500 scratch ticket
Well,
away.
I didn't throw it away, but I was like, what the fuck? I
Almost.
didn't even get the adrenaline rush of, like, scratching it
Oh
off.
my
And, like,
God, I'm dead.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck? That's so bullshit. But shout out, so happy, won it. And so, yeah, so just put yourself out there and, like, do the weird shit and, like, jump into your curiosity. We've been talking about that a lot. And, like, you know,
Curiosity leads you down the rabbit hole, but that's a good hole to go.
yeah, because especially if, like, what's working for you isn't, like, what you're doing isn't working for you.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're, you know, doing those things, like...
For sure. Holy
That's
shit,
your
the fan
takeaway.
stopped.
The fan has never stopped.
It has never stopped. This is the most serene I've ever heard this mic.
Wow. I wonder what happened. We didn't lose power.
I'm like in shock right now. I've never not heard the fan in the background.
I know. I don't even know how to shut it off. All right. So, side note, we have. Okay. So,
Squirrel.
squirrel. doo-doo-doo. So, yeah. So, stop judging yourself. Your pain isn't yours, but it's now your responsibility to heal it. We love you very much.
Yes.
We will have a guest next week, and then we will do this more of just us because I
Women's
think
Circle
that's
is up, by the way. I haven't made the post yet, but it's up.
The
Women's
28th.
Circle's in the bio, link in bio.
and it's on the 28th.
Yes, I want to do something creative and artsy, so I'm gonna do some research on that. And see
Yeah,
what-
or if anybody wants to
yeah,
offer
art teachers, any creative design,
something creative and
Yeah.
artsy,
hit us up.
holla. All right, we'll close the same way we start. One hand on the heart is our intuition. One hand on the belly, which is our wisdom, right? Take a big inhale, lift up, rise up, breathe, open the heart. And then just let that shit go.
Love y'all.
Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say. It means the world. As always, we want to end this episode by reminding you that we are not medical professionals and we are not giving any type of medical advice. We are simply sharing our experience and solutions.
We are here with the intentions of reminding you that you are never alone and that everyone's healing journey is unique to the individual. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated. Stay well, Sacred Rebels. See you next time.